All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. All right. Make sure we are on live. Good to go. Welcome back to another PE weekly episode, guys. Let me just make sure we are on good here and you guys can hear and see me okay. Say hello as you join and give me hashtag replay if you are tuning in to the replay. We're so excited to dive into our formula for how we are closing our sales. We call this the closing formula. Hi. Yeah, if you guys are on StreamYard, unless you give it permission, I can't see who you are, but just say hello anyway. Say hello. If you're a replayer, if you're here live, let me know. Say hi. Really excited to dive into my closer formula with you guys and share how we can help you guys with this formula to increase your yeses up to 80%. How cool is that? So let's dive in because I want to talk about a lot with you guys today. I want to walk you through this formula and then I want to answer any questions that you guys have. So grab something to take some notes with, because if you're having sales conversations, hi Sheridan, or if you have a sales team and they are having sales conversations, we want you closing up to 80% at least, okay? So I want you to tune in. I want to take some good notes here, okay? Because you're going to evaluate. Hi, Teresa. Good to have you here. Okay, guys, let's dive in. So I talk to probably hundreds of entrepreneurs. And some of them are solopreneurs. They're closing the sales themselves. Some of them have a sales team who are, doing the sales for them. Some of them have a team, but they're not closing sales. So they're doing their sales, right? So there's a lot of different scenarios. In every scenario, in every conversation that I have, entrepreneurs are telling me that they are not even closing 60% of their sales conversations. Hi, Cynthia. So I want you guys to tell me in the comments, how many of you are closing less than, let's say, 80% of your calls? Just give me like an 80. Type 80 in the comments if you're closing less than 80% of your sales conversations. So whatever calls you're having, right? Whether it's in the DM, it's on the phone, or your sales team is having these conversations and they're closing less than 80%. I want you to type 80 in the comments if that's your situation. And then I want you to type a 60 in the comments if you feel like I'm closing less than 60%, or maybe my team or my social seller or whoever is closing less than 60%. Okay, here's the thing with this. I find this is a huge problem, right? If you are a business owner, your success relies 100% on sales. There's no denying that, right? We have to, hi Elizabeth, we have to be able to close. We have to be able to close our sales conversations, and or our team, if we have it, if you have a sales team, they have to be able to close. If they're not closing, you're losing money, right? If people are not buying from you, you don't have a business, right? Or you might have a business and it's costing you a lot of money because there's no ROI coming through, right? Or what's equally as bad as that is that when you as the business owner are trading your time on these calls, right? And you're not closing, because every hour spent is thousands of dollars lost, right? If you look at your time as a business owner, your time is your greatest asset. Okay, so Teresa said less than, like 50% or less. Awesome, thank you for sharing that. So this is gonna be super helpful for you today. And Teresa, you and I are working together, so we'll get you up there. We'll get you up toward the 75, 80%. But here's the thing. It's really, really a broken business model when you're running your business, you're having these calls, you're trading your time for money, you're taking your time out of other activities, getting on the phone with people, and then they're not converting, they're not closing. So I always say every hour that is spent, right, on a call that doesn't convert is thousands of dollars lost. So I want you to look at that. I want you to think about that for a minute as a business owner. Every hour you spend on the phone, on sales conversations, every single hour you spend on sales conversations that do not convert is thousands of dollars that you just lost. It really puts it into perspective. And here's the thing. What's even worse than that is if you have a sales team, or you have a team that's closing sales for you, or hosting these calls for you, and those are not performing very well either, right? So your team is not closing at a high rate either. So now you're paying money out of your pocket for that team to conduct those sales calls, and they're not converting, right? Or they're converting, but they're under that 80%, or maybe they're under the 60%. So you have a team that you're paying, you're giving money to, that are not performing, and your sales are not closing. Okay. So I think that's even worse than being the solopreneur and doing these calls yourself and then not converting, right? Okay. So I think we can understand and we can see that if you and or your team are trading your time on these sales conversations and they are not converting up to 80%, that you've got that basically you have a broken sales business, right? Your sales funnel or process is broken. Your sales system is broke, okay? It's not a good thing. Most common objections that I hear when I have these conversations, I can't afford it right now. You know what? I'd really love to, but maybe next time. I would love to, but insert whatever objection they seem to give you. This sounds really amazing, but insert objection, right? Or I'm in this other thing right now, so it's just not a good time, right? Like you're hearing this on calls. You're hearing these objections on a sales call. So number one, that's like the first problem, right? Because who are you getting on these calls? We're going to dive right into this today, guys. So if you're hanging here, you're going to take away some really good nuggets from this. But here's the thing. When I talk to entrepreneurs, and I say, well, how are these calls going? What are people saying to you? Why are they not buying? Tell me what the objections are. I can't afford it right now. I would love to, maybe next time. You give the best, like you give such good content. You are awesome. I love everything that you're doing. I love it. I love it. I love it. But I can't right now because, and then insert whatever the thing is. Insert whatever the thing is, right? And then things like, oh, I'd love to, but now's not the time. So like things like that, right? So here's the thing. My whole thing with this is I don't understand why we're on calls with people who are given these sorts of objections. Like, why is that even happening? We're going to talk about that today because you actually shouldn't be hearing those things on a sales call. So we're going to talk about the closer formula, okay? Now, if you are okay with it, you don't have to, but in the comments, what is the top objection you hear? So when you're having sales conversations, again, it could be on the phone, it could be in the DMs, I don't care how you're doing them, or it could be your team doing it. What are the objections you guys are getting? I would love to hear. If you want to share in the comments, I would love to hear what those are. And while you guys are doing that, let's dive into the closer formula. Now, just for a little caveat here, a little disclaimer, I have been using this closer formula for about 16 years. I'm not even kidding you. I have used this same system inside my multi-million-dollar mentors sales conversations for them when I've done that. So I've contributed these in other people's businesses. Most of the people you guys all look up to today, I have worked behind the scenes on their sales campaigns using this formula. It's the same one my sales team and I use in my company. It's the same one I teach my clients. Okay, 16 plus years we've been using this. It just works. It works. I want to share that with you guys today. I'm going to break down as much of it as I can. And I'll do the best I can with the time that we have today because I want to try to keep this short so we can open up for some specific Q&A for you guys, okay? Now, before we start, I just want to say I don't do sales calls anymore in my company. Typically, my team does it. I'll do a few things if we're testing out something new, but for the most part, I don't. But I use this formula. My clients use this formula for high ticket sales calls. So what that means is you shouldn't be getting on a sales call for a low ticket offer. Okay. Is anyone here doing sales calls for low ticket offers? Let me know. Okay. Teresa said the objection I get, I have to talk to my husband because that's a big investment and we're on a budget. Ooh, that's a good one too. We've heard that one before too. Have to talk to either a business partner or I have to talk to my significant other, like I got to get approval from somebody. And there's a few things with that. But the objections can be real, guys. You know what I mean? The objections can be real, but here's the thing. We're going to walk through what you need to do so that objections are not the thing that you're hearing, okay? You shouldn't be hearing objections in any of your conversations, okay? Your sales conversations. Now, the other thing too, yeah, and then you never hear back from them. Yep. Yeah, and there's reasons for that. Oh my gosh, we'll get into it. But here's the thing. We only do sales calls if it's a high ticket offer. We consider a high ticket offer in my company $2,000 or more. If you're selling something under $2,000, you do not need to have a sales call, nor should you have a sales call. The effort you have to put on a sales call is the same. Whether you're selling something for $1 or you're selling something for $100,000. So it's a wasted opportunity if you're going to get on the phone for a low ticket offer. Just don't do that. You don't need to. There's no need to have a conversation for something under $2,000. Okay. Now let's dive into the actual formula. So there's a few parts. Okay. I'm going to mostly cover the first two parts today. I'm not going to get into all of the other steps, but I'm going to talk about the two most important parts. So the first part is going to be before you ever get on the phone with somebody. Okay. Before you ever get on the phone with anyone, here is what you need to do. Okay. This is what you need to do before you ever get on a sales conversation with anybody ever. Number one, and write this down, guys. Number one, you need a strong qualification process. This is part of a sales system. You operate a business, you need to have systems in place. You cannot operate a business and not have systems in place. So the very first thing, you need a strong qualification process that is set up and it is in place. And it should allow for you to never, ever, 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 ever get on the phone with someone who is not an already buyer. Okay, so there's a couple parts to this qualification process that we want you to put in place that's going to eliminate whatever objections you're getting or whatever types of people that you're getting on these calls. Okay, number one, you need to have proper messaging. Sometimes when I talk to entrepreneurs and I say, okay, you're not getting conversions on your sales calls, you're getting objections. What did you say to invite people to that sales conversation? What did you say? Or, what was the invitation? What did it say? How did you invite people to the call? Here's the thing. When you're inviting someone to a sales conversation, you're inviting someone to discuss working together. There's a couple things that you need to remember. Number one, that means they need to be the right person, right? Number two, they need to be really committed and ready to go. And number three, they need to mentally prepare to have a credit card in hand and to make a buy-in decision and transaction on the call. Now, when I talk to entrepreneurs, they say, yeah, I invited them to a strategy call or a free strategy call or a free coaching call or a connection call or whatever. Guys, those are not sales calls, though. So here's what's happening. There's a disconnect. This is the first thing you need to fix. There's a disconnect between the message, the invitation, the way that you're inviting people, and then like what you actually expect to happen on the call, right? When you're inviting someone to a sales conversation, you are letting them know this is a call to discuss working together. It is for this person who wants this, and we will discuss working together. If it is a great fit, we will go ahead and get you signed up today. You've got to be straightforward. And I see a lot of entrepreneurs beating around the bush. I don't want to tell them I'm going to pitch. You're not telling them you're going to pitch. You're inviting them to a sales call. You're inviting them to solve their problem. That's not a pitch. They don't need to book. If they don't like it, if they don't want to buy from you or they're uncomfortable, they don't need to book the call. Your job is to be straightforward and be very clear about this is who this call is for and this is what's happening on the call. Because if you don't let people know that, they think it's a free call where they can get free information, or they can share their thing with you and you can like evaluate it and tell them what to do differently, or they're going to get some free strategy or some free coaching. If you want someone to pull out a credit card at the end of that call and pay you, and you walk away with a financial transaction and a new client, oh, by all means then, right? By all means, you absolutely have to let them know that that's what's going down on this call so they can prepare, so they can get their card out, so they can make that mental transition like, okay, if this goes good, I expect to make this payment today. I'm going to sign up. I'm going to join. I'm excited, right? You want them coming to the call excited about that. Like, I hope this is going to be the thing, right? You want that. If you don't tell them that's what it is, they're not coming to your call prepared in any way, shape, or form to make that kind of decision. And so when you present it or the call starts going there, because that's what it's supposed to do, they check out. They start going into their psychological objections. They start feeling pressed against the wall. And so they throw objections at you to get out of that because it feels uncomfortable. They're not prepared. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? They're not prepared for that. So they're going to literally tell you anything to get out of that backed-in corner that they feel like they're in, so that they can be like, phew, and then it doesn't mean that they won't ever buy, but it means like they're not buying right now today. And they're going to give you an objection because it feels they feel discomfort. It feels uncomfortable and they feel backed in a corner. They didn't prepare for that. You kind of sideswiped them with it, right? Like, you don't feel like you did because you're like, well, it's a sales call. Of course we're going there. But that's not what you said to them, right? So number one, you got to have a clear message. This is who it's for. This is what we're doing on this call. And this is who it's not for, right? And I know that some of you guys are nervous about doing that because you're afraid that it'll rule people out and like people won't book. You're absolutely right. Less people will book with you, but more qualified people will get on the phone and take your time. Remember, every hour that you give in your business to a sales conversation that doesn't convert is thousands of dollars that you just lost. You can't afford to get on the phone with people that aren't ready. You can't afford it if you're running a business, right? You cannot afford it. Write that down. You can't afford to give 30 minutes of your time away on a sales conversation that doesn't convert. You are not running charities. You are running businesses. When you give your time, it needs to produce an ROI, which means in order for that to happen, you need to have specific systems in place. You need to be clear on your messaging so people can prepare and they can come to your call with their credit card in their hands. They're ready and eager and actually excited to make the investment. They know they're there for that, okay? So don't be wishy-washy with your messaging. Don't beat around the bush. Oh, it's a strategy. It's a free strategy call. It's a free coaching call. Jump on a call with me and let's talk about stuff. No beating around the bush. This is straightforward. This is a call to discuss working together. And here's who it's for and here's who it's not. Here's what's going down on the call. If this is you, it's speaking to you, go ahead and book. We're excited to get on the phone with you, okay? That is the first part of a strong qualification process. Guys, we're still on number one. I hope you're writing this down. Okay. The second part of a strong qualification process, an application. Remember, this is only for high ticket. We don't do all this for a low ticket offer. Okay. High ticket, 2,000 or more. Low ticket, 2,000 or less, under 2,000. If you have a high ticket offer, the next part, application. Application. This is going to be the thing that needs to happen if you get on the phone with somebody, especially for high tickets, which is the only thing you should be getting on sales calls for. Once you have a good, strong message, the invitation should be fill out the application and apply, right? Remember, every hour you spend on a sales conversation that doesn't convert is thousands of dollars lost. You cannot afford to let every Tom, Dick, and Harry on your sales calls. You cannot do it. You've got to get this qualification process in place so that the only people booking these calls with you and getting on the phone and taking your time are your clients, your dreamy buyers, okay? this is also stacking the deck in your favor because you're going to hear yes, 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 yes on those calls. It might not be as many calls as you would typically get because we're weeding out brain pickers, tire kickers, freebie lurkers, right? We're weeding out the no-shows. We're weeding all those people out with this process, 100%, like 90, 98% to be safe, okay? We're weeding those people out. And so when you get them on the phone, you start hearing yes, yes, yes. And now not only are your sales going up, not only are your programs being filled, not only are you having a bigger, greater, better impact in the world, but your confidence continues to go up and up and up and up because you're not hearing all that crap anymore, right? And as a business owner, we need that. We need to stack the deck in our favor. Okay, so an application is where they should go after they see your invitation, your written or video invitation, whatever way that you put out your invitation. Now, come fill out this application and apply. Here's the thing. Nobody is going to go through all of this if they're not interested. Okay? Now, when you have an application, you don't just have any application with a bunch of random questions. Oh, no. There's some specific things that you need to put in here. Now, obviously, the questions that you ask are going to depend on your niche, right? Who your clients are and what you do. But for me, the questions that we have on my sales application are all about the client. It's about their goals. It's about their vision. It's about their business model. It's how they're marketing right now. What are you doing to market? What's working? What's not? How are you growing your audience? What are your offers? It's all the things that we basically want to know to help me decide, do I want to work with you or not? Right? I decide. You get to decide who you work with. This is the other cool part about a qualification process is that you get to pick and choose who you get on the phone with, who you give your time to, and who comes into your programs, which is amazing, right? You get to decide, which is so cool. So on your application, you need to ask questions that tell you, this is my dream client. Or, this person can afford my program. This person is willing to get on the call and invest in my program, but this is not someone I really want to work with. How many of you have ever, drop in the comments, how many of you have ever signed a client that you know was not someone you should have signed? That became like one of those clients that you're like, oh my God, I knew it. Why did I do that? Right? This process weeds that out. You ask the right questions on your application so that you know, oh my God, this is my dream client. This is absolutely somebody I want to work with. So you got to think that through. You got to be strategic with that. Who's that person? Now, I will also say this. There's also 3 very specific questions that we ask on our application. Let me silence that. There's also 3 very specific questions that we ask on our application that kind of seal the deal. It seals the deal. Either they go forward with the application after these 3 questions, or they do not. They will not submit it. If they answer these 3 questions and they're all a yes, then we have ourselves a buyer. Okay? If they don't, we don't have ourselves a buyer quite yet. Here's the 3 questions we ask that seal the deal for the most part for us. Number 1, we always say, and remember, we only do sales calls for high ticket offers, right? We don't do these, and we don't recommend that you even get on the phone with anyone for a low ticket offer, okay? So because it's a high ticket offer that we have, that they're filling the application out for, we ask them, do you understand that this program and working with Ann is a 12-month commitment? And that real transformation cannot happen in less than 12 months. And what we want them to do is check the little yes box, that they understand that. They understand, sure, you can get some little results or some short-lived wins or some success in under 12 months. But real transformation, whether it's business, health, finances, life, doesn't matter, is not happening on a sustainable basis in less than 12 months, right? We're asking this question because we want them to understand our program is not just 12 months for the sake of being 12 months. It is designed for the win. It is designed for you to get results. And real transformation isn't happening in less than that time. Not with what we help our clients do. right? Because we help our clients get to multiple 6 and 7 figures. We help our clients build sales teams. We help our clients put systems in place. We help our clients take their business, their impact, and their sustainability to a whole nother level. That is not happening in under 12 months. So we just want to know the mindset of this person. So that's the first question. They need to check the little yes box. The next question we ask is, do you understand that this is a $10,000 investment? $9,200 actually, after we give a discount or a bonus. $9,200 pay in full for the year, or that you can make 12 payments of $850 a month. And they need to check the yes box. I understand that this 12-month extremely high-level program where you're going to help me do all this is going to be $850 a month for 12 months, or I can pay in full at this much. They need to check the yes box. We're trying to get them to understand we're delivering this. We're going to help you do all of this. And the price is this, right? Your investment option is this. Now, the third question that we ask that we want them to check the yes box is, you understand that should you qualify, so we get their application and we say, absolutely, you qualify. Let's get on a 15-minute enrollment call with Anne or her team, whichever it is at that time. You understand that you will make your payment on that 15-minute call with Anne. So we ask them, do you understand that should it be a fit and Anne says you're qualified, that on the 15-minute enrollment call with Anne, that you will make your payment and you will join the program that day? They have to check the yes box. And let me just tell you, those 3 questions are a game changer. We do have people that go through, and when they get to these 3 questions, they stop and they don't submit it. We see it. On our end, in our system, we can see where they stopped. And we can see when they go all the way through because they submit it. But when they go halfway and then they don't submit, we can literally see where they stopped. And so we can see when people fill out our application and they stop at those 3 questions and then they don't check the yes boxes and they rule themselves out. Thank you. Thank you. Because that would have been time that my team and I would have wasted had we gone any further with that, because you weren't even committed to begin with, right? It wasn't for you. So you want your application to weed people out that are not serious. I'm going to tell you this. Every single person that's filled out the application and checked those yes boxes is either in conversation with us or has joined the program. 9 out of 10, they join the program. It's a no-brainer, right? And again, they're not going to go through all this stuff if they're not genuinely interested, right? So those questions on an application are non-negotiable. You're really helping to understand where they're at, but you're also getting them to buy into, okay, this is a commitment I need to make. Am I serious about the goals? Am I serious about solving my problems? Am I serious about the things that I say I want to achieve? Or am I just being wishy-washy, right? Because if they're serious, they're going to make the commitment and do the things that need to get done to make it happen. Or they're going to get wishy-washy and play games about it. That's their choice. Nothing to do with you. It's nothing to do with you. Don't make it about you because it's nothing to do with you. Some people are ready to go and they're not messing around. And other people are a little slower at getting there. To each their own, right? And nothing to do with you. If they delay their success, that's not your problem, right? If they jump right on and get going, that's great. That's not your problem either. That's for them to choose and decide. But you want to make sure that when someone submits that application, books in your calendar and gets on a phone call with you, that they're serious. They're not wasting your time. They're not playing games, right? And they're not going to jump on this call and then throw you 10 objections after you and your team or you just went through this whole process to get them on the phone to begin with. Okay? This alone, this first part, guys, alone is game changer to your success, to your conversions, to your yeses, okay? To making sure that you are no longer giving and trading your time and not getting the ROI from it, okay? You have to have systems and you've got to have that clear message, that clear invitation. It's got to be clear. No beating around the bush. You've got to be straightforward with this and very specific, and then have an application to follow that. So there's that additional commitment, people are not going to take, the more steps you put people through, then that's going to kind of weed people out. Because if they're not really serious, they're not going to go through your steps, right? They're not going to be like, okay, fine, let me respond. Yes, I'm interested. Okay, let me go to the application. Let me fill out all of these questions, submit it, and let me jump on the call with you. Let me take time out of my day to get on the call with you. And then let me have this 30-minute call with you. They're not going through all that if they're not interested. So put your dreamy clients through the process. Because if they're really your dreamy clients, they're going to go through every one of those steps 100%, and they're going to say yes in the end. Okay? That's how you know these are your dreamy clients. Now, the second part this part 2, we're still on step 1. And then I'm going to go through one more part with you. But the other part to step 1 is so important on a sales call. You've got to be able to position yourself as an expert. And what I have my clients do is I have my clients use their unique methodology or their system to position themselves on a sales call. Here's what this is, and here's why this is important. What you need is a 3 to 5 step, okay? You need a 3 to 5 step process, system, or methodology, whatever you want to call it. You need a 3 to 5 step that you have created all of your own. It's your unique process, your unique system that you have created that you take your clients through every single time to get the result. Or it could be the process that you've used to get your results, to get where you are. But here's why this is so important. Your client, your potential client, it's not enough to get them to buy if you just tell them, yeah, you want a website? I build websites. So what? Millions of other people do that, right? So keep in mind, you don't need to have competitors, but you have to understand there's more than just you who do what you do. So your potential clients are scanning the landslide and they are looking around. They are checking out other people and they're comparing and they're talking to different people. What's going to make you stand out and what's going to make you unique? I'll tell you, your story, being you and sharing your story, your personal experience as it relates to them, and then your system, your unique methodology for how you help your clients get the win, how you help your clients, the process that you take them through to get them what they want. That almost by itself seals the deal. If you have a unique process that you put your clients through, that you created, it's all of your own. That alone is going to seal the deal. Okay? Because here's the thing, your potential buyer has to know that you don't just build a website, but like what makes you so different from the millions of other people that can build me a website, right? Or, oh, you're going to help me lose weight? Great. What is so different and unique about your process? Because listen, all these other people I've talked to, they have all these diet plans and crash plans. And like, what's going to make yours so different? This is where you get to shine. This is where you get to bring your uniqueness. This is where you get to show them, I am different. I'm unique. Here's why working with me is far different from working with anybody else. So this is an opportunity for you to walk them through your 3 to 5 step process for how you help your clients get the win in a very unique way that's all of your own. Okay? And so that's going to be the first thing. But the next part is you got to know how to articulate it. You've got to know how to talk about your process in a sexy, unique way, in a way that's like, ooh, that piques the curiosity, right? Like when I talk to my clients about how we do sales, I'm not kidding you. I hear it all the time. And I have studied and practiced and I have coached and I've invested. I have heard people teach and talk about sales to me for so long. And I've never in my life heard anybody break it down the way you just did. I hear that daily. I do that intentionally because I have my own unique way of how I do things. I can stand here today and very confidently tell you I have no competition. I do not have competition. Why? because nobody does sales the way that I do them. Nobody's going to teach you the way that I teach you. No one does it the way I do it. And no one brings the experience, my personal experience around sales to the table the way that I do. So the way that I do everything in my business is very unique, and it's opposite. When everyone else is zigging, I'm zagging. I don't do anything the way anybody else does it, very intentionally. So I confidently can stand here and say, I don't have competition, because there's nobody that's going to work with you in your business the way that I do. And I can stand very confidently about that. When I get in conversations with people and I bring that energy, they're attracted to that because it's different, because it's unique, because it's my truth. And when you always tell the truth, you're never wrong. I always tell the truth, and I just follow my process. I follow my way. I'm confident in it. I believe in it, right? It's proven, and it's my personal experience. So it's never wrong, ever. So you got to know how to talk about your process with your potential clients. You need to show them and articulate to them and help get them to buy in. They need to buy in to why your way. Why should I do it your way? This person over here is $500 cheaper. Why should I do it your way? Why should I pay $500 more to work with you instead of working with your competitor over here, your little friend, who's charging $500 less, right? Or why should I invest in you in your way when this one over here has been in business 20 years longer than you, has way more testimonials, and has way more experience? Why you? You have to know, and this is not about selling yourself. Your clients aren't buying you. They're not investing in you. They're investing in an outcome. When we make investments, something you want to understand about sales, when we make investments, it's a selfish act. We're investing in our own personal agenda, meaning I don't invest in my mentors to help them. I'm not doing it to help them or contribute to them. I'm doing it because I want something out of it, and I believe they can do that for me. It's a selfish act, right? So you have to remember, you have to understand why people buy. They're not buying you. They're not investing in you. They're investing in an outcome. So your job is to sell them on the process, the way that you get them to that outcome, so that they can see, oh, you do have this special sauce. You have this little system, this unique way. I'm intrigued. I'm excited. I haven't heard this before. This sounds interesting. I want to know more, right? You have to sell them on that. Stop trying to sell them on bells and whistles and all this other stuff they don't care about. They want to get right down to, how are you helping me get to that? That's all they want to know. Nothing to do with you. Nothing to even do with you, right? This is something that we have to understand as business owners, as salespeople, because if you run a business, you have to be able to sell. So you are a salesperson. If you're not selling, you're not making money, you have no business, right? So we have to sell. And as a salesperson, you have to understand the psychology of sales. You've got to understand how people make buying decisions and what's going on up here on their end. You can't just be thinking about yourself. You have to think about what's going on up here for them. And how can I override that? How can I help guide them through that in a genuine way, right? So a big part of standing out, a big part is going to be your unique way, your system, your methodology, your process for how you take every single client. I'm going to tell you right now, we have a 5-step process. I've used it for 16 years. Every single program I have, every client I've ever had in my life, every program I've ever created in my life, I take them all through the same exact process. Now, we'll tweak it for each client because everyone is an individual and they're different. But my process is the same because there's only 5 things you need to do every single day of your life to make money sustainably, consistently, predictably in your business, period. There are not 5 million things that you need to do to make money in your business. There's 5 specific things every business does very, very well and very, very consistently to make consistent money in their business in a sustainable, predictable, profitable, long-term way. That's what I teach. That's what I do. I don't change the system for every client I work with. I don't bring clients in and do something different with every single one of them. I put them all through that same process and I fine-tune it and I improve it and make it better all the time, which means I get more behind it because it works better and better every client I put through it. Now I can get behind it. Now I can talk about it, right? That's why I am so confident in the work I do, because I have done it for 16 years with every client I've ever worked with and every program I've ever created, right? Over and over and over and over and over again. It's very simple. So that's what you need to do, and then get good at talking about it and refine it and make it better and simplify and improve it along the way with each client you put through it, so that you know it's getting better and it's staying up with the trends. Now, that's all the first part. That's all the first part. I'm not going to get into too much more, but I'm going to talk about the second part, and then I'll take some questions. The second part on the call is, it can go two ways, okay? Number one, if you invited someone to a call to talk to you about a specific program, well, when you get on the call with them, you are talking about them joining that specific program. But some of you guys book calls to just talk about working together in general. So not specifically about this particular program, but just let's talk about working together, or let's talk about how we can help you do whatever, right? So it's more general, but it is about working together. So depending on how you do that, let's just say you invite people to a call in general to talk to you about working together, okay? Here's the first part of getting those conversions up to 80%. Aside from the first part that we just talked about, the qualification process. The second part is hosting the call. And this is where, when I talk with entrepreneurs, they struggle. They have a really hard time, like, how do you start the call? How do you navigate through it? Like, when do you talk? When do you be quiet? Like, what questions are you supposed to be? Like, how does the call go? And then the biggest part is, how do you transition? How do you transition from, like, we're having this conversation all about the business and whatever. How do you transition to talking about your program? Here's how you do this. At the start of the call, you want to start your calls off, guys, your sales calls. You want to start them off right, and you want to start them off strong. So the way that we start all of our sales calls is pleasantry for about, just real quick, an expectation. Now, it's as simple as, let me grab somebody that's on. Let me see. It's as simple as saying, Sophia. Hey, Sophia, I'm so glad you're here today. I'm really excited to learn more about your business and to talk to you about your big, bold goals. I can't wait. How are you doing today? I know you're living here and the weather is this. Like, tell me a little bit about that. Boom. That's a pleasantry. Because here's the thing. You got to take the pressure off yourself and off the other person about the sale. If you are like, hey, how you doing today, Sophia? Great to have you here. So let's get down to business. Kind of feels gross. Now, yes, we're not beating around the bush. They already know they're here to talk about your program or working together, because you made that clear. They went through your process. They already know that. But you also want to create the relatability and the connection. Here's why. People buy from people. If they don't like you, they're not going to buy from you. They could go through and see your message, your invitation, fill out your application, and then get on the call with you and be like, you're a dick. Straight up, I don't like you. And then they're not going to buy from you, even though they're a great client, right? Even though they'd be the perfect client. They're not going to buy from you because they don't like you. So you don't want to get on your call and kick it right off with being, rude or being raw or just so disconnected, because they're not going to like the feeling of that. People buy because you made them feel a certain way. So you want to make them feel comfortable. You want to make them feel welcome. You want to make them feel safe. Like, okay, I like you. This is cool. I love your personality, your energy, right? And then listen. So Sophia, I want to go down just the expectations of today. I want to walk you through what you can expect on our 15-minute call, whatever it is, right? I always throw in the time to remind them. I want to just run down the expectations for how we're going to spend this 15 minutes together today. If that's cool with you, I'd like to do that. They're going to say, absolutely. Great. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to ask you a few questions, get to know a little bit about your business, specifically what you do, what your goals are, and then what are the obstacles or challenges that you're having that we need to talk about in order to get you to the goals that you're trying to reach. And then if all of that sounds well, we can talk about how it would look like for us to work together and that we can help you to get to those goals. Does all that sound good? They're going to say yes. Here's the thing. If they went through your qualification process, they're going to say yes. And you need to confirm. You need to get a confirmed yes from them. They understand that's what's happening today. If you don't include that in there, even if you said it, it doesn't matter that you said it in your welcome or your invitation. It doesn't matter that you said it on the application. You need to say it again. We have had people jump on these calls even after we extended the invitation, they filled out the application, and then they got on the call and they're like, well, I actually do want to say I'm not in a place to invest today. Boom. Okay. So right then and there, we stopped the call. Oh, okay. Sophia, listen, no problem. I get it, right? Things are crazy for people or different for people or whatever. No problem. What I would recommend is we stop the call here. And what we'll do is we can rebook when you are ready. Right? Because these calls are enrollment calls. So they're for people who are ready. So sometimes people misunderstand things, even though you put it in black and white, they can misunderstand it. You do not want to get to the end of your call and then be like, I'm really not in a position to invest today. It's going to need to be next month or 2 months from now or next year, or I can't do it. You should know that before you ever get this to any point of the call. Right at the beginning, we are clarifying that that's what we're doing here today. If they're not available to do that for whatever reason, it doesn't matter. You're going to end the call. And we usually will schedule some kind of follow-up, or we'll say, when would you like to have a call, an enrollment call? Like, when do you feel is going to be the best time for you to do that? Okay? You don't give any more time, because every hour you give on a sales call that doesn't turn into a conversion is thousands of dollars you just lost. If that person's not investing today, get off the phone. You've got other calls to do. You need to go speak to other people. You don't have that time to waste. We're moving on, right? So normally they say yes. They're like, oh, yep, that sounds awesome. That's why I'm here, right? Okay, now once you do that, that's when you want to start asking questions about them. Okay, we're not talking about our program yet. We're not talking about working with us. You need to identify, is this a dream client? Are they in the right niche, the right type of person? Do they have a good mentality that I'm looking for? Are they someone who's going to actually work my program and get the result? Do they sound committed? Are they making efforts to try to get to their goals? Or are they like laying in bed watching Netflix crying about life? Like, are these people, is this really someone I want to work with? And everything you're going to ask them is going to be open-ended questions about them. Okay. And then when they answer you, go a little deeper on some of those things. Make sure they're really the right person. Okay. Because just because they're willing to invest, we turn clients away all the time. We have applications that come through for my high level program every single week. And we'll look at some of them and they checked all the boxes. They're ready to go, but they don't match our checklist. They don't match my client requirements. So what that means is it doesn't mean never. It just means right now, you won't get the win in my program. You're not the right fit right now. We might say, go off and do these things here and get yourself here first or something like that. But like right now, they might not be a fit. We turn people away every single week from my high level program because we know they are, based on the questions we ask, they're not at a place to get the win in my program. I'm not bringing anybody in that's not winning. I'm not a loser. You're not a loser. I'm not going to bring you in and we have loser vibes everywhere. We want our clients to win. And it takes a certain commitment and conviction and mentality to do that. And we know that, right? So we want you to make sure you're asking questions that help you identify, does this person meet my client requirements? My dreamy client that's going to get the win? Yes or no? Okay. So once you do that, okay, and we go through that part with them, the next biggest thing that you need to do is bridge the gap. So you've got to get to what is their real problem, because here's what I'll tell you. We all have lots of problems. We all have lots of things we want to accomplish. We all have a lot of goals. We have a lot of ideas. We have a lot of things. But it doesn't mean we're willing to pay for all of those things right now today. But there's usually that one thing that we're like, in order to get to the next thing, I need to solve this problem. Okay, so your goal on this call now is to bridge the gap. You've learned about their business. You guys have gone back and forth. You've asked all the right questions. You have all your information. And you feel like, oh, I can see what you're missing. I can see your gaps. I can see how I can help you. I want to share those with you. Because now at this point, you're like, I do want to work with you. So now you're going to give them 1 to 3, only 1 to 3 gaps that you see. Don't go down, oh, there's 50 things that we need to work on. Don't do that. 1 to 3. Okay, the human brain cannot contain more than 3 things at a time, so don't go beyond that. 1 to 3 things. Okay, so based on everything you just told me, you're here, you're trying to go here, you've done all these things that are not working. Here's what I see that we would need to work on right away, immediately, in order to get you from point A to point B. Number 1, number 2, and number 3. There may be other things that come up along the way. There might be some other things we have to work on, but right away, immediately, you and I need to work on A, B, and C. Well, 1, 2, and 3. Okay? But you got to go a step further. You can't just say, oh, we're going to work on these 3 things and that's going to get you there. Now you need to explain to them, here's why. Here's why I think these 3 things are the gaps. Okay? And then you go, because you got to help bridge it for them. You have to help them see put the pieces together and connect the dots. Your client needs to connect the dots if they're going to pay you. If they can't kind of pull it all together and it's kind of like, I don't know if I agree, I'm not, I'm confused, I'm not getting it, they're not paying you. So you got to help them connect the dots by explaining the why behind everything you're telling them they need to be doing. And then share your 3 to 5-step methodology. That system we talked about you creating. Share that. Listen, if you're open to it, I would love to. So here's the thing. Here's the 3 to 5 things that we would do together, right? Walk them through your process and why you believe your process is the way for them. Bring it in and make it all about them. Personalize that. Make it all about them. Bring in some of the things they said. Like, make it very, very unique, customized to them, and then confirm to them. Do you agree that if you and I got together right away and we worked on ABC and we set up my 1, 2, 3 step system for you, do you feel that those things would get you to point B, which is the result they said they wanted? So insert their result. Do you feel that would be an accomplishment and that you would feel successful in reaching that goal if we did those things together? Get a yes from them. That's what you need to hear. You need to hear, yes, oh my God, that's exactly what I've been missing. That's what I've been trying to do and I can't figure it out. That's what you want to hear. Okay? And then you can say, great. Would you like to hear specifically what it would look like for you and I to start working together today? Right away, we could start working together. Would you like to know what that would look like? Okay? And insert so that you can go from here to here. Would you like to hear how I can help you do that? Go from point A to point B specifically. And then they say, yes. Okay, great. And now you can go to presenting the solution. Now you can go to saying, okay, so the first thing, based on what you and I have talked about today, we know that you have A, B, and C, right? These are the problem areas. These are the obstacles, the things that you've been working so hard and trying so hard to get over and get through and to fix. And for some reason, they haven't been working for you. So I have told you that I really think we need to do 1, 2, 3 to solve those things to get you over here to B. Right? So in the program, here's what we'll do together. Here's how it'll kick off. Here's how we're going to get started. And we start right now, today. Here's what we'll do. And then you insert the things, your steps, your process, mingle in, look, and we have live coaching. We have Voxer. We'll get in that right away. We'll help you set up your offer. We'll help you do this. Focus in on those things. You'll have accountability. I will be right there guiding you every step of the way. I know you mentioned before that, you've invested before and nobody was there to support you. So you got stuck in the information. We actually have this and that to make sure that doesn't happen. Go in and tailor and customize that invitation, you guys, to that specific person that you're talking to. And that person is in. That person will be in. Okay. Now that's what you do. Okay, I'm not going to go into objections. I'm not going to go into what happens after if they don't buy. I'm not going to do that because we're stopping right here today because this is the most important thing. And this is enough for you guys to go fix, right? You got to now go look at what am I missing? What is my system and where is it broke? And what are my gaps? And I need to bridge. Now you have enough right now to start with this. And I can tell you right now, if you make these changes that we talked about here today, you will see your sales calls go from 60%, 75% up to 80%. I close 100%. My sales team closes about 90%. I mean, honestly, you guys, this works if you set it up properly and you run every single call through it. Okay. Does anyone have questions I want to open up for a few questions because I know this was a lot. I'm hoping you were taking notes, but guys, the replay is in the free Facebook group. So if you go back, you can watch this replay. We're going to pin it to the top of the group for you so that you can watch it over and over and you can take some notes and make sure. Let me just see if we have questions. Denitra, I have not seen you in so long, girl. How are you doing? We need to catch up. Any questions, pop them in. I do have my things up so I can see questions. If you guys have any, let me know, okay? But what I want you guys to do is go evaluate what is your process right now? What is your system for how you're getting people on these calls? Do you have the proper messaging and invitation like we talked about, or does that need to start to be tweaked going forward? Do you have the proper application process? And are you asking the right things in there? Are you getting the information that you need? And are you having your people that are filling that out check those yes boxes to make sure they're really fully in and committed and they're ready right now? Are you getting on the phone with people without doing that? Okay. Now, I ask permission for everything. You know, this is super, super important when you're on a call with people that you get them to confirm yes, no, I get it. Yep, that's why I'm here. Like, you have to be on the same page, okay? I can tell you right now that 9 out of 10 of the entrepreneurs I talk to, they just don't do these steps we talked about today properly. And with these little itty bitty tweaks, you and or your sales team can be closing 80%, if not more. Cynthia, can you qualify with a quiz? Yes and no. I really recommend a proper application process. A quiz is more of like a, you know, kind of a yes or no thing, or it's more of like people's opinions. There's no right or wrong with a quiz. It's just a quiz, right? It doesn't qualify people. Just because someone takes a quiz and answers the question, it's just not the same as like, come make this thousands of dollars of an investment with me today. You need a proper sales process in place for that. And I don't recommend a quiz. A quiz could be a good pre-starter, meaning it might help you to identify who you have in your audience, but it doesn't necessarily qualify a buyer, if that makes sense. Any other questions? Okay. I'm just looking because I have you guys up here in a couple places. I want to make sure I didn't miss any questions. Does anyone else have questions? And let me know, Cynthia, if that made sense, right? We want to make sure this is a sales qualification process. So it's very, very specific, very strategic, very intentional in order for it to work. Let's see. StreamYard doesn't let me see everything here, so let me just check. All right. Any other questions? I don't see any other questions coming in. If I did miss any, I will come back into the chat and answer. If you're catching the replay, just put a hashtag replay, ask your questions. Awesome, Cynthia. I'm glad that was helpful. And I will come back and I will answer any questions. Okay. All right, guys. So my recommendation today would be to go identify what little pieces you're missing out of what we talked about today. What needs to change? How are you going to fill those? Or do you need support in doing that? What does that look like? Figure those things out. Start to make these transitions. As soon as you do, you're going to see a difference. Now, keep in mind, again, we only do this for high ticket. We are not having sales conversations for low ticket offers, guys. Okay, those you can sell directly. High ticket only. And just remember that, you know, when you're doing this, you're making sure you have a proper qualification process in place. And before you get on the phone, and you'll have people do this, whether they're talking to you or they're talking to your sales team. Okay. So you want to kind of make sure you're looking at what elements might you be missing. It could be your messaging. Maybe you're not clear on that. Maybe you don't have a 3 to 5 step system and you don't know what that really looks like. Or maybe you don't know how to navigate a proper sales conversation. You've got to identify what your gaps are so you can get support with those things. But what I want you guys to understand is that, yes, you're going to have less sales calls when you do this. Because people are totally going to weed themselves out. And you want to have gratitude for that. Because those are the people that would have got on the phone with you. Those are the people that get on the phone with you now and your team. And they're tire kickers and they're wasting your time. So they're going to weed themselves right out. You'll have less calls, but they'll be qualified calls. Okay? Which is going to save you time and money and your team time and money. So just keep those little things in mind. If anyone needs any support, anyone has any questions, let me know. We are here to support you. Drop any questions below. Send us a DM. We're happy to support. And we do this every Wednesday, guys, right in the free group, Simplify the Scale. Some of you are watching us from there. Some of you are watching us elsewhere. But over on Facebook in the free group, Simplify the Scale, we do this every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for you guys. If you have anything you want us to talk about, if you'd love to see me go live and riff on a certain topic or a certain area that you're struggling with, just pop it in the group or DM us, let us know, and my team and I will make sure it happens. All right, guys, have a great week. We'll see you guys later.